Hi guys! Alright, why don't we get started with today? So today's a little bit different. We are going to be doing a music therapy podcast stream today. And I've got with me my loving and wonderful father, who is a licensed mental health counselor. His name is Toby Holly.
Delighted to be with you.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
So, Toby Holly, I'm a counselor. I've been a counselor for well over 20 years, and I'm delighted to be doing this music therapy podcast with my daughter, who is a musician.
Yeah, okay. So hold on. Okay, there we go. So yeah, what we have prepared for you guys today is a song that we're going to be looking at and kind of breaking down kind of some pointers that we think would be really helpful for y'all to kind of just be able to listen to the song and kind of just, digest what it's saying and use it for like venting or that sort of thing. And the song that we're going to be looking at today is by a band, Mercy Me. And if I recall, the song that we're looking at today actually came out like 13 years ago. It's a really cool song. But it's
awesome song.
It is an awesome song, yeah. But it's called Beautiful. And I actually remember listening to this song like all the time whenever I would go to like church in the morning, and this song would kind of just always be playing. So yeah, I don't know. It's got a special place in my heart for sure. But yeah, so we're going to pull up that song, and what we will be doing is we'll play the song, and we'll kind of like listen to the music and kind of talk about what's going on musically in the background. And then we'll also talk about what's going on like lyrically, and I'll stop and I'll go through and read it, and we'll kind of just break down what we believe the song is trying to say and how it can help people kind of like in specific situations, but also just how you can use the song yourself to kind of address things. So yeah, that's essentially what we'll be doing. So let me go ahead and pause this, and we will jump into that. Yeah. Did you want to give like a rundown of what the song was kind of talking about? We had talked about that.
It's a very beautiful song, incidentally called Beautiful. And it's essentially a song that tries to maybe show the story that is in the mind of many regarding themselves, and which is often not a very happy place. And the song offers a contrasting picture, God's point of view of you instead of the way you see you. And it's a fantastic journey between these two contrasting points. And if you let the song kind of speak to you, it can actually alter the way that you see yourself and the world around you, which is why we're going to be talking about it tonight.
Yeah. All right. So I've pulled up the song. So why don't we just go ahead and jump into the song itself. So this is Beautiful by Mercy Me. You know what? I'm actually going to go ahead and pause it just really quick, because already I'm hearing some cool stuff that I kind of want to mention. So yeah, and let's see. So what the actual song so far is doing, at least what I hear kind of like musically, is the kind of like piano kind of pad that they're using to open the song is typically found in like worship music, as I like to listen to. And I do think that's also maybe why they would always play this song on Sunday morning, like on my local radio station, because it really does like have that worshipy feel. It opens the audience's mind to kind of be in a state of like peacefulness or reflectiveness. You know what I mean? So yeah,
kind of has this atmospheric effect to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Could even use the word ethereal, maybe. Something
Yeah,
like that.
that's
Yeah,
true.
and if, as far as my experience with the song, it's like my feet aren't on the ground when I'm listening. Just right out the gate, it just kind of has this spirit effect to it.
Yeah,
The mood is very spiritual.
that's true. Yeah, and it's interesting. I recall in the music video too. I see he is actually using the piano, but this is like a pad for the piano that you would see, like I said, again in a lot of like churches, like in morning service and stuff. It might not actually be the sound of piano; it's more of like a pad to kind of add that effect
So
to it.
it really just kind of helps. That it immediately begins to help set the mood of the song.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. All right, let me hop back into it. So we're in the first verse.
When all you hear is you're not worth anything, wondering if you ever could be loved, and if they truly saw your heart, they'd see too much.
Let's go ahead and pause it there. And I will read the lyrics real quick. So in the beginning here, for the first verse, the lyrics say, "The days will come when you don't have the strength, when all you hear is you're not worth anything, wondering if you ever could be loved, and if they ever truly saw your heart, they'd see too much." Already, those lyrics are really
Verse
strong.
1, yeah. And the way I interpret this verse is that's the story in your head. And I can't tell you how many folks that I've worked with, and maybe just a young, beautiful man or woman that could be married with children and developing career and things going really well in so many respects, but they are their worst critic, right? And it's just the story in their head is that they couldn't even maybe look at themselves in the mirror without having some kind of terrible. So this song is for you. This song is actually trying to maybe bring forward the story inside your head. The verse said to me something like, if people really knew who I was, they wouldn't want to know who I am.
Yeah, that's
As if, maybe
yeah.
you're just going to hide from the world or something. That's
Right.
that's the verse means to try and speak to that person.
Yeah, I also noticed that I feel like the lyrics are also speaking to the feeling of being like invisible or unimportant. You know what I mean? And I just think that that's kind of interesting that we're already seeing that kind of like message being shown in the song. So yeah,
verse
just
1.
kind of pointing on what you said essentially. Yeah. All right. Why don't we hop back into it now? So that was the first verse. Now we will be heading into the chorus.
You're beautiful. You are made for so much more than all of this. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You are treasured, you are sacred, and you are
I think I'll go ahead and pause it again. So something interesting that I noticed kind of immediately off the bat, which we've seen in other songs that we have covered on the channel so far, but what immediately kind of stuck out to me was like a sense of repetition. So the chorus reads, "You're beautiful, you're beautiful. You are meant for so much more than all of this. You're beautiful, you're beautiful. You're treasured, you are sacred. You are His, you are beautiful." So to me, what's kind of sticking out is the fact that they repeated "you're beautiful" so many times. I feel like that was probably the message that they were trying to get across in this section of the song.
Yes, and this is the contrasting story from verse 1. Right, verse 1 is, boy, I hope that you don't ever really know who I am because you'll never want to be my friend. That's verse 1, and the chorus is God speaking to that person saying, hang on, you are beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really what the chorus is trying to maybe push back on. It's a fantastic contrast.
Yeah, that's true. I think at this point also the song is kind of acknowledging, like, I guess some of the lies that we tell ourselves that kind of leads to like this sense of like shame and isolation. And I think this verse is also trying to remind us that God's love is constant even through our imperfections, and sometimes we might like loop that in our own head.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And be like, oh my gosh, you know, this, that, or the other thing about me. But it's important to recall that we were created in his image and that we are his like beloved. You know what I mean?
Intensely. Yeah.
So intensely so. Yeah. And I think that is kind of like looping back into what the verse is trying to say, that God's love is constant even through imperfections. Yeah. Okay. So that was kind of, I think, what was that? The chorus?
Was the chorus. So verse 2.
The chorus. Yeah. So let's move on here. Yeah, this is verse 2. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then it would pop right back into the chorus here. Let me go ahead and read. So that was the second verse. Yeah, and it says, and praying that you have the heart to find, because you are more than what's hurting you tonight, for all the lies you've held inside so long, and they are nothing in the shadow of the cross. And I think actually to me, what kind of stands out in this this verse is like the third line that I see here. And it says, for all the lies you've held inside so long. I think that for me is kind of what stuck out, because
I agree.
I see in like the previous part of the first 2 lines of this verse, it seems like a continued thought because it starts on the word and, you know what I mean? And praying that you have the heart to find because you're more than what's hurting you tonight. So, yeah, I don't know. For me, the third line stuck out.
It's fantastic. The lies would be that story.
Yeah.
And you know, your own worst critic. That's actually the lie. Who knows where that came from? I mean, different people have different stories. It could be, you know, something rotten in your childhood, or who knows? Like, I mean, the variations are endless. But nonetheless, there is a story that is a lie, and God has something very different to say about it. And what I absolutely love is in the last line, it refers to the cross, right? We just finished Easter, and that is all about what the cross means. And the whole point of the cross is love. He intensely loves us, and you are beautiful. The challenge is to see yourself through God's eyes, not through the eyes of that lie. That's the challenge.
Yeah, that's true. All right, when we move on to, I think it goes back to the chorus at this point. Yeah. I absolutely love like the instrumentation too of this song. It came out 13 years ago, but it sounds so good still. Alright, let's pause there.
Yeah.
So it just went right back into the chorus again, as you saw.
Yes, and for me, the chorus is an echoing sentiment that I often think in my mind. The privilege to sit with someone, they invite me in their story, and I don't think I can say it enough. I mean, that's a privilege, right? To be invited into a place where they're sharing things with me they might not share with anybody else on the planet.
Right.
And there I am in that space, and I mean, you know, like I said, it could be a young person, maybe a young lady, you know, married, her husband's into her, beautiful kids, she's got a thriving career, and she can't stand to see herself in the mirror, you know, like, wow, how did you land on that? You know, you're amazing.
Yeah.
And so the lyrics really just echo a familiar message in my mind that I just wish to maybe confer to someone that I'm talking with. And so, and I mean, I think this is ultimately God's opinion, God's position. For that, I love the song, that it really just tries to point us back to who we are in his eyes.
Yeah, That's very true. And I think the main message here as well, like they're really trying to get across, I think, the message of you are beautiful. And I think this statement should be heard as a fact and not like a compliment. You know what I
Right on.
mean?
Yeah.
And it's like the gravity of it is like really real. Like it truly means that you are beautiful. And, anything that you believe otherwise about yourself would be like a lie.
Just not true.
Yeah,
And,
just
and the
not
word
true.
gravity, borrowing from that, I mean, gravity is a fact, right? So
Yeah.
we believe in
Mhm.
gravity because
That's
it's real.
true.
Well, the
Yeah.
same is true regarding your beauty. I mean, like, that's a fact too.
Right, exactly. All right, so now the song is going to kind of get into the bridge. So let's go ahead and pull that up. I think I'll go ahead and pause it again.
That's good.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and read the bridge so that way we can just know exactly what the lyrics are saying and
Mhm.
everything so we can look at it. So the bridge, here's what it says. So, before you ever took a breath, long before the world began, of all the wonders he possessed, there was one more precious. Of all the earth and skies above, you're the one he madly loves, enough to die. Those are some strong lyrics for the bridge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe this is a challenge, really, to us. And again, it goes back to God's authority, his position in the universe, right? I mean, he wrote us into existence in his mind before he wrote us into existence in material reality. And so his position on who we are matters, or at least it should. And his statement is we're beautiful.
Yeah, that's
And,
so
that's, and,
true.
and the bridge is just challenging us to listen and sort of just drink that in. It's true. As opposed to this other thing you got going on inside your mind, wherever it came from. It's just not true.
Right, exactly. And I think what's cool also is that the lyrics kind of like emphasize God's like immense love for you, and he sees, your beauty and desires a relationship with you. I think that is like something that's really cool that the lyrics just kind of point back to.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
All right, and so now what we're going to get into is the final part of the song where it kind of goes back and it sings the chorus again, but it's kind of sung a little bit differently. So let's go ahead and pull it up. One part I wanted to look at was like the music in the background. And I think what's also cool, as you can kind of hear in the background here, is that there's now like a distinction with the piano, as before in like the beginning of the song there was like there was piano, but it was like more of like a padded kind of like ethereal sound like you'd mentioned earlier, that was kind of like drawing in the audience. But now it's kind of more of like a distinctive instrument, which is cool. I think it really adds a lot more color and a lot more clarity to the song too at this point, and the instrumentation is really helping with that.
We talk about emphasis, they repeat themes in the lyrics. That's for emphasis. I also think the music, as you're saying, kind of supports that theme of emphasis. It just kind of drives the point home through it. Like an ever-increasing escalation is what it seems like in the music.
And I'll just go ahead and just pause it at this point. So, as you kind of heard it like dwindling out in the background, the music just kind of went on for another minute, and it kind of looped back into the chorus a few more times, just adding a bunch of cool like ad-libs and stuff like that. It's a really pretty song. So if y'all have not heard the whole thing like in full, I highly recommend y'all go listen to it, because it came out 13 years ago, but it is an awesome song, and I still listen to that thing like on repeat when I'm in my car, for real. Honestly, it's such a pretty song. So yeah, was there any like final points to that you wanted to kind of wrap up the song
Well,
with?
I do think, this may be less from the counseling point of view and more from just the practical point of view. I mean, there probably is maybe a radio version of it somewhere, maybe.
Mhm.
But it is a longer song, and I think probably because it's longer than most songs, it doesn't get the same airtime. But it
Yeah.
is really a powerful song, and it does surprise me that you don't hear it more often.
Yeah, that's true. It also, it came out quite a while ago as well.
Yeah.
That could also play a
Yeah.
part into it.
Mhm.
Songs that have been around for a little minute, sometimes they don't get as
They
much like headway as they used
Step
to.
behind the newest
Yeah.
ones,
Yeah. They should play that one though. I mean, like I feel like a lot of people my age probably know that song, but it still is amazing. Like it doesn't there's songs like you could probably hear like a million times and they won't get like old, if you get what I mean. And for me, that song is definitely one of them. I love the instrumentation of it. I feel like it has more color to it than a lot of like songs today. And I don't know, that's just kind of like one of my personal opinions about the song. So I think it was ahead of its time, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so let's get back to kind of the thought process of what the lyrics were trying to say. So as we've looked at the song, like what is like the overall kind of like thought process that you could give like people in the audience?
Yeah, so I think the song attempts to unveil a way of thinking that we often practice, and you could say, you're your own worst critic. That's a common phrase. And maybe another theme would be, if you only knew who I was, you wouldn't want to know me. Which is often the way we think, which is unfortunate. And so the song is trying to just kind of get at that deep, maybe secret part of self. That's actually what they're trying to address, I think. And then the contrasting position is, wow, man, don't believe that. That's not true. Here's God's point of view, which is evident really throughout the scripture and in the life of Jesus. And I even think that there's remarkable reference points to the Psalms in the song.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I think that's what the song was ultimately attempting to do. And as a counselor, what I do is sit with people and try and really help them, encourage them through, tough spots in life. And a lot of times what makes it hard for a person is the story in their head, which is this dark story we're talking about. And so how to change that story to something that is, well, one, accurate, but two, life-giving, would be taking a song like this, which, I mean, this may sound strange, but I think the song really echoes heaven's sentiment of a person.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's what heaven would have to say about you. If you asked anybody in heaven, this is what they would say.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I think listening to the song and trying to take on board its message would be what I would advise someone in a counseling context. And maybe if I could just describe that practically.
Go ahead, go for it.
Maybe if maybe, having a period of a day or a week or something where you just make it a point to concentrate on yourself, and, in addition to working out, which is a good plan, you would take music like this and you'd put on your earphones and you would go walk and think and meditate and just let the message kind of soak in. And compete with the otherwise story in your head, which is something pretty negative.
Yeah.
And only if you give this sort of message attention in your spirit are you actually going to be able to take it on board. I mean, how else are you going to relearn how to think about yourself if you don't actually train yourself to think different? That's the whole idea. So the song really kind of gives you the structure to do that with.
That's true. So yeah, just for our audience, one more time, the overall message, kind of like in bullet point, like format. What would you say was the overall message of this song that they could take away? And you already gave a brief example, but maybe just one more time about how they could use that now, like knowledge of the message of the song in their own personal story.
Well, the bullet point would be take time to meditate on yourself and your life. And meditate on something that is supposed to be point two, something that speaks an accurate message of love and life and beauty, which this song is an example of. You bring that into your psyche and think on it as if it were food, digest it. That would be point two. And the message of the song is you are beautiful, as opposed to the lie, which says something very different.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, yeah. So that was our assessment of Mercy Me song, Beautiful, which is a beautiful song. Y'all should listen to it. And so what we're going to be doing with this is we're going to be putting it into a playlist that we will be creating. And I believe we're calling this particular playlist Discovery. And soon we'll be doing another kind of podcast where we go into, was it recovery or redemption? What was it that we said?
Yeah, I think this probably would be under the recovery section.
Oh, okay.
Which, you know, because you're really trying to recover the way that you should
That's
be seeing
true.
yourself, as opposed to discovering the lies. Some songs help you discover the lies. Other songs help you kind of work out of it.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, so this song, I guess, would then be under the recovery playlist, and we will put those together for you guys. And if y'all have any questions about anything in the song that we're discussing, or if you have a question that you hope would get answered, what you can do is you could either DM us, or you could be a part of the subscription thing where you can go in, and if you wanted to, like, talk about some stuff, we can kind of address it through there as well. So, yeah, that's essentially all that we have pretty much for today was the assessment of this song. And our hope is to eventually have recordings of these streams, because sometimes on certain platforms it disappears, you know what I mean, after the stream is done. And, you know, sometimes there are like maybe things that we said that you wanted to kind of either take note or just kind of like hear again to process the things that we were saying. So we will eventually have these like fully available on Spotify so that y'all could listen to these. Yeah, under like the podcast section, so that y'all could go through and listen to these songs and assess them yourselves whenever you had time. So
handouts and things that correlate with each song.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we'll have like bullet points and notes and everything that y'all can actually access through that subscription part if that's something that you also were interested in. So yeah, that was pretty much it for this stream. We'll be doing more like this super soon. I will let y'all know whenever we are doing it on different days. So far, Sunday is going to be like a set day that we will definitely be doing this stream. We might also include Mondays or Wednesdays. We're just going to have to see what the algorithm does with that. So yeah, we'll get back on to the second day that we'll be doing these music therapy streams. But yeah, that was pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys again super soon.
Look forward to it.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.